Welcome to the WealthGenius Podcast, brought to you by the Expand Wealth Real Estate Fund. Expand your wealth by investing in apartment buildings. Go to expandwealthfund.com to book your info session. The WealthGenius Podcast, strategies for multifamily real estate investing, mindset, community, success. The WealthGenius Podcast with your host, the godfather of real estate, Alfonso Cuadra, who has expansive experience in business and massive success as a real estate investor. The WealthGenius Podcast. Let's dive into today's episode.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Smith maneuver. It sounds so, like it's like a maneuver, right? Where did this Smith maneuver come from? I know there's a story there, and I'd love for you to share it.
Yeah, my father, Fraser, became a financial planner in Vancouver. This is back in the mid-'80s. And he was interested in the fact that the Americans could deduct a good portion of their mortgage interest on their principal residence, and we Canadians could not. Of course, he didn't think that was very fair at all, right? So, he picked up the Tax Act, which is a fascinating read, and he wanted to level the playing field. So he read that. He just took different pieces of the puzzle, mortgage, investing, tax, and he came up with this strategy which allowed effectively Canadians to start writing off the interest on their principal residence mortgage. So now we Canadians actually have the upper hand on our American cousins, because while they can deduct interest already, they don't get the capital gains exemption, whereas we can now do both. We get the capital gains exemption and we can deduct the interest on our mortgage.
Do you find a lot of people are following this type of strategy, or?
Yes, it's really increasing in popularity and awareness now. It's, like I said, it's been around for 40 years. Mm-hmm. But apart from the book that my dad came out with in 2002, shortly thereafter, he went out of retirement to go back into advising. So he wasn't marketing the book. He wasn't marketing the strategy. So he was just taking on private clients, as was I when I joined him in 2006. But Fraser passed away back in 2011. And I kept advising until, I think, the middle of 2018, when I sold my practice at that point, because it was important to me to be able to stand up on my soapbox and let every Canadian homeowner know that we've got a solution to a lot of their problems. And I couldn't do that as a registered advisor. So that's when I sold my business, wrote my book, Master Your Mortgage for Financial Freedom.
Yes, I have it.
Yeah, great, great. And have been working at promoting the strategy for Canadians, because as you know as well as anybody, it's not easy out there. We've got a lot of challenges.
Well, I love the strategy because, as you know, and if you're if you're into investing, and everybody knows and understands that your primary home is basically a liability because it takes money out of your pocket. And so what you're doing is actually reversing that. You're making it into an asset, which I love. The way I know the term is debt swap. And that was something that, I heard a long time ago. And what basically the idea is you pay down your house and then you get a mortgage on it. And then you take the funds from that mortgage and then you invest into an asset. So that would be like a Smith maneuver on steroids kind of thing.
Well, the Smith maneuver is actually a debt swap on steroids. When we talk about the Smith maneuver, we're talking about when you have the right type of financing on your home, the right type of mortgage. It allows you to access the equity as fast as you're creating it with just your regular mortgage payment.
Yeah.
Nothing else is required. Now,
so explain to me like the details of it, how it works. Like what kind of mortgage do you need, and what is the investments, or how do those investments work?
Yeah. So the debt swap that you mentioned is one accelerator out of 5, but the basic plain Jane scenario, we Canadians need a readvanceable mortgage on our home. A lot of Canadians just have this typical mortgage. They borrow $400, $800, $1.2 million, and they commit to paying that out over 25 years, 30, 40 years. But a readvanceable mortgage has another component to that big chunk of non-deductible expensive debt, and that is the HELOC, home equity line of credit. So these two sides of the mortgage talk to each other, and the HELOC limit will increase whenever you make a payment against your mortgage. So it's kind of like you're refinancing your own home every month because you make your regular mortgage payment. A lot of that goes to interest, non-deductible interest. It's gone, goodbye, you'll never see it again. But what does reduce principal? You're able to access that again and get it invested. And the important thing here is that you invest with the reasonable expectation of generating income. Because if that's the case, you can deduct the interest on that borrowing. So if my mortgage goes down by $1,000 with my mortgage payment, and I borrow back $1,000 and invest it, I've just converted $1,000 of non-deductible debt to beneficial tax-deductible debt. And we do this each and every month.
And how long does it take to fully convert the debt into fully deductible interest type of mortgage?
This all depends on your personal situation. The plain Jane Smith maneuver, which is only using your regular mortgage payment, which you're making anyways, that we typically see about 2 to 3 years off someone's amortization. So 25 down to 23 or 22 years, and that bad debt is gone. And a net worth improvement of between $300,000 to $400,000. And that's simply by restructuring your existing cash flows and your personal finances with your mortgage. But we've got, as I mentioned, 5 accelerators. And if you can implement 1, 2, or all of those, which most Canadians have the ability to, we're seeing results of a typical Canadian mortgage net worth improvement over the course of a typical amortization period of upwards to $1 million or more, and a 25-year AM non-deductible mortgage debt gone in 5, 6, 7 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's extremely powerful stuff.
Wow.
And the biggest accelerator, I think, of interest to people who follow you, Alfonso, would be, one, the prime the pump, which allows you to access the equity in your home to finance a rental property, for example, when you have to get into the right type of mortgage to implement the strategy. But more importantly, the cash flow down, because now we're able to take revenues that we're getting from our renter and make extra payments each month against our own mortgage and access that back to pay the expenses on that rental property.
So, so you have, for example, you have like an income property.
Yes.
And usually what people do is they have a separate account, right? But what you're suggesting, you have one account, which is your readvanceable mortgage, and the rents that you collect along with your own mortgage payment and everything that you have goes into this readvanceable mortgage.
That is accurate. The way that you actually structure this depends on the type of readvanceable mortgage you have. And there are products out there that work pretty much exactly as you just described it. But you're absolutely right. I did this. I went and got my first rental property. Fantastic. So excited. I opened up a bank account, nothing but income from my rentals going in there, nothing but expenses going out. But you quickly learn once you figure things out that don't take the revenues and put that into that bank account. Put it into your personal bank account where you can apply it against your mortgage. Say it's $3,000 in addition to the regular mortgage payment. When that line of credit opens up, that $3,000 then goes into that bank account where you can track the expense payments you're making. So you can show the CRA, if they ever asked, yes, all the expenses I'm paying on my rental property have come from borrowed money. Therefore, this is tax deductible. Because you are
that
borrowed
portion,
to invest,
right? Just
that portion, that $3,000.
Yeah. And so you continue to accumulate that portion. So money that you are collecting in rents, you're paying it down, then you're pushing it towards this side. So the more properties that you have, you could pay that. I mean, that would be, in no time you could pay down that mortgage, and not necessarily pay it down, but completely convert it into one that would be would have the tax advantages.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, when I was an active investment advisor, I had over 500 families as clients. I was doing strictly Smith maneuvers for my clients, and I had this one couple. They were both realtors, and they sit down, you talk to them about the strategy, and then, oh yeah, okay, this is great. I see how it's working, and then you throw in the cash flow dam on this thing. They're going, oh wow, we've got 4 rental properties, or 4 or 5 rental properties they had. And they had at that time maybe 21 years left on their principal residence mortgage, and it was gone in less than 3 years,
wow.
2.5 years.
Wow.
Now the challenge there is you're often running into your prepayment allowance within 3 months or 6 months of the year because you're prepaying your mortgage by so much. And we'd get calls, they say, oh, I can't prepay my mortgage anymore. I've hit my allowance. Oh, well, you can technically prepay your mortgage, continue to do that, but why don't you call and find out what the penalty is? They call back, oh, it's not a problem. It's $112 to continue prepaying my mortgage by this massive amount each month. Yeah. And just the wealth creation of being able to invest via the Smith maneuver, the accelerators, even the cash flow dam, through investing in a portfolio of securities of your choosing, investment real estate, the tax reduction, and the savings in non-deductible interest that you'll have by not making mortgage payments for 25 years.
Yeah, so that's one thing that most people don't understand, because it's so here's one thing with a debt swap. So paid my house off cash, got a new mortgage. Now I have a chunk of money in my hands. Now I bought a property in a corporation. So now the corporation is responsible for that mortgage and paying down that mortgage in terms of the interest. And if I had to take money out of my own corporate account, that's income, right? So I'm paying income, like we're talking about 50% income tax, right? So I'm losing. It's costing me more to pay that mortgage. So if my mortgage payment is, whatever the interest payment would be on a mortgage payment, let's say it's $3,500 mortgage payment, it's costing me double, because I have to use already money that I've already paid taxes on.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's not just the amortization, or you know what I mean, and the interest is the fact that you paying it with after tax dollars. And if you could somehow, and I'm sure this is what you help your clients do, figure out how to put it into a company or make it a part of a corporation where you don't have to pay yourself first to make that payment in the first place.
There are as many different scenarios and solutions as there are Canadian homeowners. Everybody is different. We've got a network of Smith Maneuver certified professionals across the country, mortgage brokers, investment advisors, tax professionals, realtors, who help our clients do this. And so when we have a client who's utilizing these professionals who've gone through the training and all of this is when they say, okay, here's what you got going on, your personal life, your corporate life, you're both employed, you're both self-employed, whatever it may be, and here's how we're going to structure all of this. And sometimes it's not involving the Smith Maneuver. It all depends on someone's comfort level, where they're at life. But when it does involve the Smith Maneuver, these professionals can communicate to each other, the investment advisor, the tax professional, the mortgage broker, all these people say, this is how we're going to set you up. Because it's not just a matter of freeing up $2,000 a month to invest, plus doing the cash flow dam and all these sorts of things. When you're talking about holistic financial planning, there's estate planning. There's life insurance and wills and RSPs and TFSAs and non-registered investing. So it's so important to have a team around you which can say, okay, I see where you are, where you want to go. I'm going to go talk to the other people in my network who are on your team, and we're going to figure out how to structure this so that you get rid of your non-deductible mortgage faster, you're building up your tax deductions faster, you've got as big an investment portfolio by the time you want to slow down at work as possible.
Can you go to any bank and ask for the readvanceable mortgage? Is that how it works? So if you have a mortgage right now, are you tied into a certain term?
Well, we have people financing out of a mortgage that doesn't work for this into a mortgage that does all the time.
Okay.
Now, if I was interested in implementing the Smith Maneuver and I go into the bank and I say, okay, mortgage specialist, I want to do the Smith Maneuver. I need a readvanceable mortgage. Chances are that this salaried employee is going to say, I don't know what the Smith Maneuver is, but we have a readvanceable mortgage. And if you sign up for that, again, chances are that it's not the best one for you given your personal situation.
So it's not the right product.
Right. Because every readvanceable mortgage out there is different. It operates differently, set up differently.
So what do you kind of walk me through what you do with your clients? Like you sit down and what's the process look like?
Well, for myself, I don't have any more clients anymore since I gave up my license. What I focus on now is building out the Smith Maneuver Certified Professional Network. So we're training up all these professionals I mentioned. And so the process is different for every mortgage broker or investment advisor. They're conducting their business the way they always have, but now they're able to slot the Smith Maneuver into that the way that they do business and help their clients. But basically, we need to know what's your house worth, what's your current mortgage balance, what's your income, your marginal tax rate. Do you have any excess investments right now, like $10,000 in mutual funds? If so, maybe you want to look at a debt swap. Do you have the ability to add an extra $300, $500 a month to the regular mortgage payment? If so, cash flow diversion. Do you want to do the drip accelerator? Maybe when we refi you can do the prime to pump, cash flow down, all these different things. So it really is, it's about, the way a mortgage broker goes and conducts their business, an investment advisor, a tax professional, it's the same for them. but they know what to look for when there's a possibility of implementing the Smith maneuver for their client.
And for you, you've given up a lot. I mean, your practice or your license, you said. How did you get into this?
So here it is. I was living and working in China for about 7 years.
Oh, wow, China.
Yeah, various capacities.
Where?
I worked in Beijing.
Beijing, okay.
Yeah, I was
up north.
I was at Enron China for a while.
Wow.
I was at the Canadian Embassy. I was at an investment bank. But that was about 7 years. And so my dad said to me, Rob, you got to come home. Your mom misses you. So I said, let's do it. Let's go home. Plus, when you're 6'5" in a city of 15 million people and everyone's looking at you at the same time, you get tired of it real quick.
People are taking pictures of you on the street.
Yeah. So came home and started working alongside my dad. That was 2006. And I absolutely loved it because my dad was a teacher at heart. And he would sit down with clients who were interested in the strategy, and about 3 hours later, they're begging to be let out of the room because he was just so passionate and going through all the stuff. And when I started with him, he trained me up, of course, and that's what I really enjoyed doing, is letting people know what the strategy is, how it works, why it works, how it can help them. Now, I quickly reached capacity as an investment advisor, and I lost the ability to take on new clients and go through that process of education and meeting people and answering questions. And now I was in my office all day watching the markets go up and down as an investment advisor. So that was part of the impetus in sort of getting me through the door to selling my practice and writing my book to honor my father and every Canadian homeowner across the country who might need some help, which is darn near every one of them.
So your dad had a book?
Yes.
Oh, okay. But it's not the book that we see
No. His came out in 2002. That's called Is Your Mortgage Tax Deductible?
Ah, okay. And
my book, shameless plug, Master Your Mortgage for Financial Freedom.
Yeah, and I think there's one that says, actually, it's the Smith maneuver, right? Like there's one that has that title. Or?
Yeah, his book originally was called the Smith maneuver. Then he changed it around to Is Your Mortgage Tax Deductible?
Okay, yeah, because I've seen a few versions of it. And that's incredible. I mean, like everyone should know this. Everyone should have a readvanceable mortgage. It's just common sense, right? Yeah. I mean, this is kind of what you want to do. Now, I'm thinking about the tracking. How do you track each? Because each month there's a new level of tracking. Is that part of the service, or?
The education on how to track is absolutely part of what our SMCPs take care of for the clients. Because again, as I mentioned, every readvanceable is a bit different. And depending on which type you have, which is most suitable for you, the individual Canadian homeowner, the process might be different. And so our SMCPs have processes that they will say, okay, you are in this type of readvanceable that's been selected for you because you have the ability to use a whole bunch of the accelerators. Mm-hmm. So on a monthly basis, this is what needs to be done. And it's not that onerous at all. It's depending on the lender, maybe you have to make a phone call once a month or go online. So it's tailored to the client, and our SMCPs provide that education process. And here's what you do when you do it.
Love it. So I love that you came all the way here, we've known each other for a while. In fact, we were like randomly in Costa Rica, and it's like, hey, Alfonso. Yeah, remember
the airport. Yeah, I wouldn't recognize. Cool. I wouldn't have recognized you except you had your WealthGenius T-shirt on.
That's good. And you've come and done a lot of events for our members, which we appreciate very much. I know a lot of people are excited about the Smith maneuver. What inspires you?
I love, like my father, teaching. And what really inspires me is the fact that I get to teach Canadians something that really helps. Mm-hmm. I've always said that a financially stronger Canadian is a financially stronger Canada. And so I and my team and all the Smith Maneuver certified professionals get to contribute to the building of Canada because we're building up Canadians' personal finances and leaving them better off when they get down the road.
Beautiful. Rob, all your information will be in the show notes, so they're going to know how to get a hold of you, Smith Maneuver. And I definitely want people to connect with you. Do they have like a consultation? What do you want people to do?
Well, yeah, the first step, hopefully for everybody, is to read the book because it's great if you already have a basic understanding of the strategy.
So get the book, number one.
Get the book, and if you don't want to invest the $25 for the book from smithman.net, go to the library and check it out for free. You can get it for free. But do a little bit of self-education. When you're ready, go to smithman.net, and we have a little button that says Find an SMCP, and we can connect you to Smith Maneuver certified professionals near you.
Beautiful. Last question. What's a quote that you live by?
Isn't it strange that princes and kings and clowns that caper in sawdust rings and common people like you and me are builders for eternity? Each is given a bag of tools, a shapeless mass, a book of rules, and each must make, ere life has flown, a stumbling block or a stepping stone.
Love it. That's beautiful. You brought tears to my eyes. Love it. Thank you for coming by, sir.
Absolutely a pleasure.
Rob Smith, Smith Maneuver. Alfonso loves you. We'll see you all at the top. Woo!
Very nice. Well done.
Thanks for listening to the Wealth Genius Podcast, presented in part by Expand Investor Conference, December 13th to 15th at Weston Harbor Castle, Toronto. Get your tickets now at wealthgenius.ai/expand. If you have a question or comment about something you heard today, reach out to the Godfather via social media or email him anytime. All that information is in the show notes. And of course, don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode of the Wealth Genius Podcast. The Wealth Genius Podcast. Until next time, see you at the top.